Hey there, welcome to First Glance with Jody, Vance. We are revisiting a familiar company as we are talking Falcon Gold. FG on the Toronto Venture Exchange is the stock symbol. F as in Frank, G as in Gary. Karim Rayani is the CEO, headquartered in Vancouver. Nice to see you again, Karim. How are you?
You too, Jody. Nice to see you.
I see that we have news to share here with regard to your company. Give us a quick overview of who you are for those who perhaps haven't seen our prior discussions, and then tell us what your news is, please.
So my name's Karim. I've been CEO of Falcon Gold for the last 3 years. Last we spoke, I guess, was about a year back, and we were talking about our flagship asset, the Central Canada project. 230,000 ounce historic resource grading 10 grams. Tied on to one of Canada's largest gold deposits held by Agnico Eagle. They have a 4.6 million ounce deposit, and we are directly tied on to the same structure. So we've done 3 rounds of drilling, and what we're doing is we're validating all the historical workings to bring back the 230,000 ounces to a current resource calculation. It's open to depth, it's open in all directions, and we're very excited with the results that we're seeing.
So as far as the layperson who is just now sort of tiptoeing into the mining sector as an investor, when they look at Falcon Gold, what do they need to understand? Because what you just explained was very technical. I get it because I have the opportunity to speak with mining executives on the regular here. But for somebody who's like, of all of the options in this moment where I've decided I want to get into gold, why you?
So, the one thing with Falcon, if you compare our assets at our current market cap, I think you'd be hard pressed to find as much value as you would in Falcon. We have a number of assets. We've got an asset in Argentina, high grade gold in a past producing region. We recently acquired an asset in one of the biggest copper producing regions in the world, tied on to BHP, Rio Tinto, a company called Antofagasta. They recently paid $1 billion in cash to Barrick to earn a 50% interest. And wow. We are directly tied on to this camp right in the center of all this action. We also have a number of projects in Newfoundland. Newfoundland's has been getting a lot of attention. As of late, a company called Great Bear, your readers may know, kind of set off a staking frenzy. They recently got bought out at $29 a share. In Newfoundland, there's a company called Newfound Gold. They're doing exactly the same thing. They've been hitting some of the best numbers across the board in the last 10, 15 years. So with all that action, we tied up a lot of ground, tied on to these larger systems. In the Hope Brook camp, there's 1 million ounces just tied on to us on the northwest corner. And then you have Benton, Sokiman on our other side. So what our business model is really going after large systems. We kind of follow a disruptor model. We go where there's a lot of action, there's a big system kind of proven up, and we'll study the geology, why some of the ground was overlooked and passed by the larger operators, and we'll go and essentially buy it for 10 cents on the dollar, and then do the work to prove it up. So
I want to ask you specifically about some of the ways with which you identify those properties that maybe were passed over by a traditional larger company that just says no, and you go, wait, what is your airborne magnetic data all about?
So essentially what that does is that gives us a mag image of the underlying system. And based on that, we can follow that with a ground program. If a property is 50,000 hectares, to try and walk that ground, especially with overburden, if the minerals and the showings are below the surface, if you walk by it, you're never going to know what you're standing on. Right. So a lot of these, high grade operations, they mine what they could find on surface, but below that, it could be, 2, 3, 4, 500 feet below the surface, even deeper in some cases. So that data is really paramount in us being able to evaluate a project. It's not cheap. It's fairly fairly expensive, but it's value add because you save yourself hundreds, if not millions of dollars. So in the Hope Brook camp, we've got about 80,000 hectares so far. We've also got a number of other projects in that camp. From the point of the video, I won't go into all of them. Really, our flagship asset is the Central Canada project. And we're starting our phase 4 program right now. Should be starting here by the middle of May, just waiting for the snow to clear.
Right.
Sometimes we can drill in snow, but what happens is when the snow starts to melt, it gets very muddy and it becomes more difficult to drill. So we're waiting for the snow just to clear it a little bit so we can get in there. That
right.
makes sense.
It does make sense. Okay, so you've told us a little bit about Argentina. You've told us a little bit about Newfoundland, talking about some Central Canada. Let's go specifically to BC. Your HQ in Vancouver, right?
Correct.
Right. So talk about some of the claims in BC. What Spitfire, Sunny Boy and Merritt, Gaspard Gold Project in Central BC. What are we looking at in those projects?
Yeah, so the Sunny Boy actually has me probably most excited. It's a very high grade system. It's in the Spence's Bridge camp. There's a company called West Haven Resources. They've been hitting some of the best numbers in BC. Our surface numbers have come back, with surface drilling as high as 150 grams a ton. What we're waiting right now is for permitting. So once we get our permitting, we'll be able to get in there. With COVID, a lot of these applications have taken a little longer. There's another project called the Gaspard. It's on the other end of the Spence's Bridge camp. We got high water sediment samples with 2 to 3 grams of gold. So in the beginning, we weren't having much luck. We knew that there was gold in the system because of the stream sediment samples, but we couldn't find the source. So we did some further investigating, did trenching, wasn't having any luck, did a soil sampling program again on the other side of the hill, and presto, bingo, I think we've identified the source. So now our next step is to do an airborne survey and get crews mobilized this summer. Both those projects are in an area where it's almost impossible. Well, it is actually impossible to get any ground. We tied up this ground a few years ago, and our most recent acquisition, the Gaspard, we did that with a private prospecting family, and they had the claims for many years. But really, all that ground is all staked by the big boys. So I mean, all the the major companies.
Right. So let's just reiterate to those listening or watching: Falcon Gold, FG on the Toronto Venture Exchange. So on the TSX-V, you got F as in Frank, G as in Gary. Karim Rayani is the CEO that we're talking to here. If somebody's looking for more, looking for your deck, looking to hear more about you, your team, the hows and whys behind the company as a prospective investment, where do they go?
So the website is www.falcongold.ca. We've got a presentation on the website, all the geological maps if people want to dig into press releases, etc. Our contact details are there. You can feel free to reach out to me directly. On a finishing note, the one thing that we are doing right now is we're doing a spin out of one of our holdings, two of our holdings in Latin America. The reason we're doing this is, Falcon has a lot of projects. We really want to keep Falcon's focus in Canada. And the new company called Latimark Resources, all the shareholders of the record date, which will be set here in the next few weeks, will get a share dividend. So we haven't set the exact structure, but most likely it will be on a 5-for-1 basis. So for every 5 shares of Falcon, you'll get a new share in the new company. So yeah, we're quite excited about this. The 2 projects, the one in Chile that I mentioned, tied on to BHP, Rio Tinto, etc., and the Argentinian asset, which is high-grade gold epithermal system. We believe those 2 projects are a company maker as a standalone, and we feel separating the assets in a Latin America-focused issuer and keeping Canada separate is the way to go.
Yeah, timely. Yeah, for sure. Especially for those who wish to have separate in their portfolio, the international investments versus the homegrown ones. And I'm one of those people. I like to know where my money is and why. So I appreciate you giving us sort of the education on what's up with Falcon Gold, and definitely look forward to us circling back with what comes of this next season when you can get into those snow-covered deep dives that it sounds like are ahead for you. And I like the what did you say when you almost said eureka? It was almost like a gold rush term that you used, but you said presto bingo. I think those are two really good words to use when you're in mining. Nicely done.
Yeah, I haven't used that one in a while, so
I think presto bingo is good to have in your deck. Well done, sir. We'll talk again soon. You take care.
Thanks, Jody. Talk soon.